I met a man who knew every mistake I was about to make, and the scariest part, he said he had already lived my life before me. It's a story that still keeps me up at night, replaying every word, every warning. I was sitting alone in a quiet cafe I'd never been to before, just trying to escape the noise of my own thoughts for an hour. That's when a stranger sat down across from me and said my name. A chill went down my spine. I looked up, and I didn't recognize him at all. He wasn't particularly old or young, just worn. But he smiled like we were old friends, a sad, knowing kind of smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Before I could even ask who he was, he spoke again. He said, "You're going to order a black coffee you won't finish." He was right. That's exactly what I was about to do. He continued, "And your phone will buzz in exactly 10 seconds with a message from your sister." I stared at him, my hand hovering over my phone on the table. It was absurd, and then it buzzed right on cue. My heart started pounding. He told me things no stranger could possibly know. He mentioned my childhood fear of thunderstorms, a secret I hadn't shared with anyone since I was a kid. He brought up a lie I told in high school, one I'd never admitted, even to myself. Then his voice got lower, more serious. He talked about the decision I was agonizing over right then, the one I was about to make and deeply regret. He leaned closer across the small table, his eyes locked on mine. "Don't take the new job offer next month," he whispered. "It's a dead end disguised as an opportunity." Then he added, "And don't ignore that persistent headache you've been having. Get it checked out." His final warning was the strangest. "And whatever you do, don't fall in love in October." I couldn't help it. I laughed. It was all too much, too theatrical, but my laughter died in my throat when he stood up to leave. His face was a mask of sorrow as he looked down at me and said, "I made all those mistakes already. I just hoped you wouldn't." Before he walked out of the cafe and out of my life, he handed me a small, neatly folded piece of paper. It felt heavy in my hand, heavier than it should have. All he said was, "Read this in 6 months, not a day sooner," and then he was gone. For a while, I completely forgot about him. Life has a way of sweeping you forward, and I got caught in the current. I took the job. The offer was too good to refuse. The promotion I thought I needed. I ignored the headaches. They were just from stress, I told myself. And then October came, and with it, a whirlwind romance that felt like something out of a movie. Everything he warned me against, I walked straight into, almost as if his words were a dare. 6 months passed in a blur of long work hours, doctor's appointments I kept rescheduling, and the intoxicating highs of a new relationship. One evening, while cleaning out my jacket pocket, my fingers brushed against that folded piece of paper. My heart skipped a beat. With trembling hands, I unfolded it. The note had only 7 words written in a familiar, shaky script. It read, "You didn't listen. Now you're here." That night, after reading the note, I went to the bathroom and looked in the mirror. My job was a nightmare. The headaches had gotten worse, and the person I'd fallen for had broken my heart in a way I didn't think was possible. I stared at my reflection, at the new lines of stress around my eyes, the slump in my shoulders. And for a fleeting moment, I didn't recognize myself. The face staring back at me looked so tired, so defeated. Then I remembered his eyes, the eyes of the stranger in the cafe. They were tired. They were regretful. They were the eyes of someone who had lived too much and carried the weight of it all. It was like looking at a ghost. And that's when it hit me, a realization so profound it knocked the air from my lungs. He wasn't a prophet or a psychic. He wasn't just a stranger warning me about a future he could somehow see. He was trying to forgive himself. He was looking at his own past, at the young, naive version of himself sitting in that cafe, and hoping, praying that this time things would be different. But they weren't. They never are. The cycle just repeats. And now I know, with a certainty that chills me to the bone, that one day I'll walk into that same quiet cafe, I'll see a younger version of myself sitting alone at that table, and I'll sit down, waiting for someone who hasn't ruined their life yet. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, hit that subscribe button for more.